Welcome back to the Nullified Take channel, where Kahuna and I have got the TNT takes for you here this Monday evening over in Australia for Survivor 47 episode 5. That's right. We're going to be talking about all of the action. Both Kahuna and I coming back, not feeling well over the weekend, missing out on the challenge, but we're here. We're drugged up and ready to go, right, Kahuna?
Yeah, I'm psyched. I'm excited to discuss the episode, but also how it sits in the context of the season and how the season fits. Because when it listening to the Nullified Take as we do, Drew and Jake started out hot for this week's recap episode. I'm not sure if you saw it, but Drew's so vehemently, violently defensive of
New era,
the new generation, but this season in particular, flying a flag for it, almost to the point where he says he comes across as a hater to the people that do shit talk the new era.
Does he listen to our? He doesn't listen to our podcast. Surely doesn't.
Obviously
right?
not.
Yeah, because he would realize that we're not drinking the Jeff. We're not drinking the Jeff Probst Kool-Aid on this podcast.
Well, I felt like if I knew. If he meant if I knew that he definitely listened to us,
yes,
then it would sound like he's taking shots. because he was so anti the people that are against it, and I was like, oh, I don't think he listens to us. But if he did, it would be like he just needs to mention names, and then it's like, oh, all those people that hate it all the time. I'm like, that's me.
Like Chris and Kahuna and Mucky and Tom. No, but I think. And again, our audience can correct us if we're wrong. I think we've got a balanced approach, right? There's some times where we give it credit where it's due. If it's doing a good job, you're like, that's great. But we also are not afraid to criticize the shortcomings of the show. And one of the issues that I see is that some people who watch Survivor US, if you've only watched Survivor US and you don't watch other franchises, it's like the frog in the boiling pot. You don't know you're being cooked. Every single season, they just add more and more of these brain-numbing twists, and they wear you down to the point where you start thinking that it's a good twist, right? Think about this episode. The whole thing was
they go to a break.
First time ever, we're going to bring this brand new twist to the game. It's going to be game-changing, and it was sold as the next big thing. To me, this twist fell flat. They got to spend time together and combine two teams to do a reward challenge just before the merge. I think Mucky said it best. So I feel like we need to, and I see Mucky is in the live, I feel like we need to play Mucky's Facebook message to the boys and share this with everybody. I know it's very dangerous when you share a Mucky Facebook message, but he'll be here a little bit later on. So I think we need to listen to what Mucky said, because I don't agree with Mucky all the time. But he kind of was speaking for, I feel like, all of us.
Hey, sup guys, it's Jeff Probst here from American Survivor. Have you heard of American Survivor? It's been going since the year 2000. Anyways, we've introduced a brand new twist. A Survivor first no one would ever see coming. It is the ball pit here at Odyssey Century Maze. And let me tell you why that this is such an interesting twist. Because this ball pit here is a pit where you and your friends can go and socialize. You can come in here, you can socialize.
Wow.
People might be coming in, they might hop in and socialize with you. And this is so crucial. And it's like Survivor, because Survivor is all about relationships, people management. You won't know what will happen tomorrow, but what you can count on is your social relationships, which we cancel out by taking away your vote and giving $1 million to everyone. But don't talk about that. Let's talk about this brand new social twist. It is so interesting because you get to hang out, you get to talk here, and it's just wow. Who could have thought? Now I know you're probably thinking you could have done the same thing with a tribe swap or with a Murgatori episode, but no. We want to make sure that at least an episode before merge, people get a chance to just sit down, just chill out, just chill with your bros, chill with your gals, just chill with everyone, because that's how we do it on Survivor. The merge is almost near. I can't defend this choice. It's shit.
Thoughts on that, Guna? Thoughts on Mucky's observations of this new twist in Survivor, this new game-breaking twist?
Well, I just want to say, Mucky missed the biggest travesty of all of it, which I think is the worst twist in the history of humankind, even, is that even after this twist, in inverted commas, in air quotes, the reward was dry hot dogs. Was that the twist? Like,
And
no, like
the
just
biggest
dry
plot
hot
twist of
dogs.
all is they allowed for the vegetarian to cook the hot dogs. Like, there's no way in hell I would allow a vegetarian to cook my hot dogs. He doesn't know
The
what meat's
dry
supposed
hot
to taste
dog.
like.
There's no ketchup. There's no mustard, no tomato sauce,
There's no
barbecue
proper
sauce,
chef who knows how to
onions.
cook a good sausage hot dog.
What
a
is
non-reward.
happening on? Have they just like given up on as far as rewards go? The sanctuary where good things happen, you get a freaking shitty sausage. You go down to Bunnings on any Saturday, and you have a better time than winning reward on
You
Survivor.
get tomato sauce with your hot dog if you go down to Bunnings. So for those who don't know, I don't know if Bunnings is over in the States, but Bunnings is like a hardware store over here in Australia and New Zealand.
Home Depot.
Bunnings.
Home Depot.
If you go to Home Depot over here, you get a sausage sizzle with a little bit of tomato sauce. That was pretty bad. Like, it's like, we're not giving you the tomato sauce.
I don't like. Obviously, I'm. It shows you where my priorities are as a person.
Yeah.
But I was so offended by this reward challenge of like
I
the
missed
worst
it.
hot dogs I've ever seen. I don't.
I completely missed the quality of the meat because I was so shocked that nobody stepped in to make sure the Carl didn't cook them. There's no way, mate. Like, how can a vegetarian cook your hot dogs for you? Like, I just don't understand it. Explain it to me.
I mean,
For South Africans, and I don't know how it is for Australians, barbecues are like sacred, mate. Like, you don't want somebody to mess it up. You do not
did you
want
say you
someone
don't
to
know
mess
how it is for Australians?
It must be like, I've only been here for a year. I've
Yeah,
never been
that's true.
invited
You
to an
haven't been here
actual.
long. You're gonna have a
Yeah, I
proper
haven't been
summer now.
Yeah. So when I come to Sydney, you're gonna have to do you're gonna have to invite. Like, I've not been invited to a barbecue where Aussies have cooked the barbecue. Like, wherever the barbecue's been, I've invited people to my place for barbecues. So
Maybe-
like,
The thing about Australian barbecue is that there's no such thing as an Aussie barbecue because I'm Filipino, right? And then in Melbourne, you'll probably get invited to at some point a Greek
South
barbecue
African or Greek. Yeah, I've been to Greek.
yeah, like you know what I mean. Like there's my South American friends, their barbecues are very different to all the Philippines. So it just depends. But barbecues are very big here. It's usually just the fact that it's the grill. But I
See,
would
this is why people tune into our podcast rather than the ones that Drew and Jake does. We talk about the things that really matter, the rewards. How they're skimping on the rewards. They're not giving them. There's they don't even spend money on food for the camp anymore. There's no rice being bought for the camp, but they can't save the money that they save on the rice to buy some decent sausages for the guys. And while we're on the food, we need to talk about this. We do need to, I know we're so far off topic from the twist, but we do need to, while we're talking about the reward, we need to talk about the chickens because I will forget. What the bloody hell, mate? Like, they took the chickens back, started negotiating with Jeff around chickens and getting eggs and things like that. And Jeff's like, I'm going to bargain and things. It's like they had no leg to stand on. They were not going to chop those chickens. The fact that Sam got away with 18 eggs, that was a steal. The fact that he got 18 eggs from Jeff. Jeff thought he was doing good negotiation. I think Sam just went over the top high and then still ended up with 18 eggs. There's no way that they would have firstly had those eggs, because you don't know if chickens are going to lay eggs without any proper nutrition, and they weren't willing to chop them. As Jeff getting soft.
When Jeff did the maths, he was like, there's 16 days left, 1 egg per day per chicken. There's 3 chickens per day times 16, right? That's 48. So when he said 24, I was like, oh, they're coming in light. I would have even gone harder because Jeff did the maths himself. He verbalized it. And that's why Jeff thinks he actually did pretty good because.
But the chickens weren't getting did they give the chickens proper nutrition out there? Like, I feel like they need proper nutrition to lay eggs. What are they giving them?
A little tiny dome thing, all 3 of them, with no put
I don't know.
grass down. Like what was that guy's name? The chicken Ty. They should Ty would have had like a hotel built for them. Remember the chicken guy? He was like so obsessed with the chickens and looking
I
after
know.
them all.
I remember Ty. Yeah, he gave him a
Yeah.
name. I forgot the name of the chicken. But Darren says here, why would they not start a fire before the challenge? I think personally, what's happening is that the production team, that they're a special kind of petty. As soon as they lose the flint, they go back to camp and throw water on the fire. I'm pretty sure that's what production's doing. Like, I don't think that they're actually allowing them to have a fire. But I feel like this is like we're 7 seasons into the new era now. And if there's been one thing that Jeff has been consistent at, is giving us the exact same format for 7 seasons in a row. Like, how do people not look at that and say, maybe I need to start practicing making fire without flint? We've had players like Boston Rob do it before. Why is no one practicing this? Because I'm waiting for that person to break Jeff's great twist. We're taking your flint. And he goes, haha, it doesn't matter. I'll go make my own fire. How about them apples? Like, we need to see someone do it.
Especially because I think the flint thing is so stupid anyway. Like, to me, like, we're seeing this now, as you said, for 7 seasons in a row.
Yeah.
Has it made any difference or added?
Has it been fun to watch?
Yeah, like, what has it actually given us as a viewer to know that this happens?
We saw Rome cry because of this, because they couldn't eat any food prior to the immunity challenge, and it made them so emotional that they won the immunity finally. So it gave us Rome tears, which I'm sure a lot of people, like, I know I'm in the minority of people who think that Rome is probably the best player this season, not from a social strategic standpoint, but from just an entertainment value side of things.
From a gameplay perspective.
Nah, but he's entertaining to watch, right? And I'm a big fan of that because I want to see entertaining TV. I'm sure there's a lot of people like who enjoyed seeing Rome on his knees this week because of the fact that he couldn't eat. Like, there must be some people who are having fun watching that because that's what Jeff is doing. He's looking at Survivor and saying, how can I make it more fun? And taking away the flint must be something that he thinks is fun for people.
Look, I don't know if there's an element of me. Maybe it's there somewhere. I don't know if it's not conscious. It might be subconscious, but there might be a part of me that dislikes Rome more because you like him so much.
And you know what's the funniest thing? The more people dislike him, the more I like him. It's like we're in this like death spiral.
Competitive thing in me as well. Like, because you're right. We started out in episode 1 and episode 2. I said at first he was very annoying. Then I came around to the fact that he was gold. He's amazing TV.
Yeah.
This time, even though I still think he's gold, I'm very much enjoying him not having a good time, looking foolish, like not having the power.
It was like Rodney. You remember Rodney from Blue Collar, No Collar, White Collar? I loved Rodney. A lot of people didn't like Rodney that season. He was obnoxious, right? And I still remember that day when he was like, I didn't get picked for the reward on my birthday, and he was freaking out. And I was loving that. I was like, this is amazing TV. That's why I don't get it. Like, people become like, they really get personal about, like, I really don't like this person. I can't watch the show while they're on. It would be so boring without, like, this episode had less of Rome and it was a lot more boring. Luckily, we had a lot of Andy, though. And Andy is also delivering at the moment, Kahuna. Like, Andy was the mastermind, if you didn't know, behind Annika's blindside. He put the dominoes in place days before this happened. Remember, this was like articulated, strategized by him from beginning to end. Annika's downfall, and he got his first target. Is this the beginning of a new mastermind in Survivor? Are we seeing the rise of Andy, similar to Chris Daughtry? All those seasons ago, couldn't get over the balance beam in the first challenge, then goes on to win the whole season. Could he be the new Chris Daughtry? Just coming back?
No. A broken clock's right twice a day, right?
This would only be the second time.
Well, the whole season, it's only the second. But what I mean by that is, like, you know, last season, Liz, like, she was like, I don't like you. Or she's like, I don't want this person, or blah, blah, blah. And then when everyone else came up with the plan and actually made it happen, she was like, that was my idea. I was saying this from the get-go. And like, Andy was like, yeah, like, he said Annika, but he didn't make it happen. Like, it was really Sierra who had the power to choose between the two alliances. It was Sam driving it very much and looking very powerful. And Andy was like, this is what I wanted, but he didn't actually facilitate it. And I don't think they listened to him in the slightest about whatever he wants. Like, if this was really what he wanted, it's not because he made it happen. It happened because it's what Sam wanted.
Yeah, very true. Very true. I wanted to share something with you here, but I can't share it at the moment. What did you think of Andy's next level technique of sawing the rope and putting his back into it while he was doing it?
He put more than his back into it. Look, it's late enough here in Australia. It's not.
Yeah, if you've got kids
US
listening, maybe turn down the volume just a little bit. I
For our
feel like
US viewers, I know it's not something you want to hear talk about in the morning, but I do remember. Look, I'm no Andy in the bedroom. I do a lot of my work just lying there, very still. But I do know that I've heard about how, like, first of all, this
he
is on
is
the
going
back
at it.
of, this is on the back of holding the saw, the complete opposite, trying to do it with the blunt end, right?
Yeah.
Like this guy, like, I've heard the thing of, like, when when enjoying the company of another and really going hard, but you just do a neck motion
Yeah.
and there's nothing else. Like, I feel
It's so
like this is the
juvenile.
vibe. That's what like, you need you're throwing a lot of work there, Andy. It's just in the wrong section of it. Like, you're concentrating on the wrong area of your body. That's not going to do what you want it to do, mate.
It was hilarious. There was a lot of fun moments in this challenge. Another one here with Soul absolutely totaling himself on the way back. That was a hard fall. I actually do like Soul a lot, so it was kind of hard to see
Me
him take a
too.
tumble like that.
He had one of the best reactions I've ever seen in Survivor, I think, when when Rome came and talked to him about, hey, Genevieve doesn't want to work with you, bro. Do you remember what Soul said? Because it will stick with me forever.
What he said in regards to, like, getting his
his-
reads wrong, or
No, just his. Oh, well, that was great as well. I thought of you as well, by the way, when he was like,
yeah,
"I'm
I
in
was like,
sales."
geez, I might be overconfident with my sales experience, because if Soul's got, like, I've only got 18 years, he's got 20 years of experience in sales, and he's getting it wrong. So clearly, I'd be in trouble if I was to play the game. See, salespeople
I
are not
like
a threat.
that. I do like that.
The
he
last
was
time a
he was
salesperson
used to well.
won, the last time a salesperson won, he was a challenge beast, and he was lucky because he got voted out early. It was Chris. Was another Chris?
Right.
Remember, he got
There you
voted out
go.
in Age of Extinction. If it wasn't for Age of Extinction, he wouldn't even have won. So us salespeople, we're not threats.
Remember, Chris,
Hopefully I
when
don't
it
play-
comes to Survivor, you're a podcaster, not a salesperson, right? Like, as far
No,
as
you
the
reckon
things-
that's a better thing to say to them than say I'm
under
in
your
sales?
name? Yeah. You tell it, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe not in person. I don't know
Yeah.
if the tribe wants to hear that you're a Survivor podcaster, like, specifically, especially in Australia, they might still have a bit of that, oh, this guy knows the game too well kind of thing.
Yeah. No, very, very, very true.
No,
but
Saul's
yeah, so I
reaction,
guess-
Saul's word, by the way, when Rome came and talked to him, all he said was that he dropped an F-bomb, but it wasn't the normal F-bomb. He said fart or fart in the American accent. And just to have that as a reaction, fart, as a, instead of a, oh shit, or whatever, like, as a, just to say fart is the funniest thing, I reckon. It's so weird for a grown man, like you said, sales executive of 20 years. He's like, fart.
I don't know what type of sales he does. All of those things can matter at the end of the day. But I wanted to say, what did you think of, like, I know we joked a lot about the game breaking twist, getting tribes to intermingle before they actually end up going to, the merge, which is just by an episode, so it doesn't make a huge difference. I agree with a lot of what Mucky said in regards to that. And speaking about the devil, he's right here, so we'll give him the mic in a second. But Kuna, I wanted to ask you, what did you think of the the gameplay by these tribes coming together, and then certain individuals like Tiana just letting loose with information. What was your thoughts about that?
I don't know. Like, she was a little bit too loose because considering, even though they were mixed tribes, it wasn't that like there was a lot of blue there. Like, Sue was just like looking at it the whole, like, she's doing it in front of everyone. She wasn't even being cool about it, private about it, sneaky about it, nothing. Just open and honest. I don't mind the fact that she's like planting ideas and putting a spotlight on someone else and building that social relationship by sharing information, but did it in the worst possible way, not knowing. Obviously, she must misread of how close Sue and Gabe are, which is what Gabe has been saying from the get-go, is how he wanted to keep it kind of under the radar. And it's kind of paying benefits now because Sue went straight back to him. Maybe Tiana overplayed how close she and Sue are in that regard and didn't think she would say anything.
Right. Yeah, what was your thoughts, Mucky, in regards to some of the strategizing that was happening here? They had the whole blue tribe there. The only person who wasn't there was Gabe, pretty much from that blue tribe. Yeah. And then she chose to like single out the one guy that's not there.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess very similar to Kahuna. I was personally offended. I was taken aback. Like, my brain was out of the episode when they were eating hot dogs without any sauce. like the whole time I was going, what the hell is this? What rubbish? I mean, clearly it goes to show the creativity behind Jeff Probst's mind when it comes to Neuro Survivor. Oh, just get some bread, chuck some meat in it. Yeah, she'll be all right. There's no.
I don't think it's great production. No, I just think it was budget.
Someone got the bag. It was on the boat. Oh shit! It's on the boat.
It's like, we talk about the budget cuts, right? But it's been clearly stated now that originally for 41, 42 is it's all because of COVID and Fiji. We don't want to, this is set days we have to deal with. But it's been very public now that, no, Jeff wants it to be 26 days.
I just reckon Jeff is so bland. He thinks like that's how it's the bet. Like, he likes them dry.
Yeah.
He's like, no, that's how you like it, right?
There's many seasons where they had like proper awards and things like that. It's clear. Like, I mean, it's clear to me. It's like they did the 2 seasons in COVID period of time. They cut down on budget. They cut down on a lot of things. They took out the live show, all that kind of stuff. And they were like, Americans still love the show. They still tune in. Americans will take a lowered version of the show. They'll take Survivor Light. So we'll keep feeding them Survivor Light. You know what I mean? So to me, that's just the thing, because it's now been enough seasons where the people who have wanted to leave, they probably have left already, or maybe there's a few people that are on the peripheral of leaving. I don't know anymore by this time, because I mean, I did check the ratings. They still did 4 million viewers this week. So that's kind of where they've been for a while now. They've been at 4 million for a while. They're not really losing. They're not really gaining. So I feel like they're just sort of treading water, keeping the numbers that they have. But it was interesting to see them go after Gabe. This episode was interesting to see Teeny also try and make some, like, I thought Teeny opposed to Tiana had a way better approach, because she didn't have anybody else there that could verify anything that she said. And she was literally in the bottom. So for her, basically, she needed to throw a Hail Mary out there. It was sloppy play by Tiana in my mind, but good play by Teeny to try and extend an olive branch to work with a couple of people here. Caroline and Rachel are 2 girls that she potentially could work with, or they could work with when they get to a merge situation. So I'm very interested to see where that's going to go. And then even more interesting for me was Caroline thinking that she somehow is like this genius at playing. Like, I mean, I do applaud her for trying. I applaud her for trying. Like, I have to applaud her for trying to play the game. But I don't know, Mucky, in what world she thought she was going to be able to mend that rift between Gabe and Tiana. Like, what planet was she on when she was trying to mend those fences?
Well, planet Jeff Probst, word of delusion where people like your show. It's the thing where it's like, sorry, I just came from work.
Watch out, Coach Drew's going to come to you, mate.
Oh, actually, no. Did you guys see the thing that happened at the end of one of the recaps?
No.
Where, they're talking about challenges or something. They're like, oh, we don't really watch Survivor challenges. And Tom put, because American Survivor challenges are mid, like, in the comments. Oh. And Drew brought it up. It's like, well, I hope your 14-day season flops.
Oh.
I was like, really? That's the best you can come up with. like that's the best. Like Australian Survivor has its flaws for certain, but the best you can come up with is hoping a global season flops. Hope you hope something is bad. That's the best you got. It just shows like how desperate Neuro Survivor fans are at clutching for anything good.
I don't think
Anyways,
it's all fans. Let's not blame all fans and say all fans are like that.
but it's yeah, no, it's like yeah, I'm not really sure what Caroline was trying to do with that. I mean, you kind of like Tiana went out of her way to announce to everyone, oh, you can't trust Gabe, and all that sort of stuff. So you trying to bring them together is only just going to create more friction that way because they clearly don't trust each other. It's probably much better off to leave them sit. Yes, I've got that untrust towards each other, but it's not frictioning up towards anything, right? So then when merge does come, it's like, yeah, I may not trust you, but I'm happy to work with you for one vote, maybe two, and then we can go at it. You get what I mean?
That's all that they need. And it seems like with the new era of Survivor, like tribes just go now. We've watched it for a long time now. Tribes just can't get it together when they come to the merge. It's almost like previous tribes never existed. I don't know what it is about new era that just people don't connect like that. I feel like in most cases, like it's very divided for the most part of or the large majority of seasons in the new era. I feel like tribes kind of fracture as soon as they get into a merge situation.
Yeah, we have kind of seen like the small group play, isn't it? Like the trios and stuff like that kind of switch between groups and really influencing, being the swing votes and adding to numbers like that. I keep thinking of what was the Tika 3? You know, the fact that they went 3 into merge, got decimated before pre-merge, went with 3 and then managed to just bounce back and forth and stick together that way. Whereas I think because of the numbers and the way it works out, the 3 merge thing with a 3 tribe system with 6 people, they get to merge with so few left between them. There's not much of a tribe left to actually stick together. And oftentimes, if there's one, I think we've seen it before, and this is what I'm getting the vibe now. If Caroline, because I was going to ask you guys, Caroline was stupid for even thinking she could pull it off. But then I was going to ask, was it actually the right move? Do you want to go into merge with 5 strong and look very strong? This is what I was going to propose to you, because then the other 2 tribes gang up on you, right? They then come together because 5's not a majority. 5's nowhere near a majority, right? So if you don't, and they're looking at your 5 and going, well, we've got 3, you've got 4, you've got whatever it is. We'll take them down to 3. We'll take them down to 2. Then we'll bring, that's how it usually goes. If you're the big group and you're outnumbered by the 2 smaller groups, you're in trouble there. I think you can go in with a very loose, we're going to do this together, but you can't look like you're unbreakable because then people want to break you.
Very good observation. I didn't even think about that, but very good observation. I think instinctively there's strength in numbers. So I understand why she was trying to keep them together heading into a mid situation, but it could be a double-edged sword. Unless the other 2 tribes, like you never know if the other 2 tribes are going to jive as well, right? So you just don't know until you get to the merge. But it kind of reminds me of last season when they were looking for cracks. And I've already forgot the tribe's name, but the tribe that went in there, they were looking for cracks and no one could find the cracks. And then the girl who was at the bottom of that tribe, the green tribe, ended up getting voted out first, and she wasn't even in power, but she didn't give them anything. She didn't say, I'm on the bottom or anything. And they were like, by the time it was tribal council, they didn't believe her. And Mucky, she's pleading. She's like, no, don't come for me. I'm at the bottom. And they're like, we can't trust you now. And they voted out the person that was the least connected.
Is this the time where that guy did the shot in the dark and all votes for him were completely nullified, and then they unanimously voted out another jerk?
No, it was the same season, but it wasn't that.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah,
you remember on the season with Austin and D, right? Caleb and I forget the girl's name that kind of grew on us as the thing went on. She started out really badly and started growing. The yellow team. It was those 2 that were like not going great, and they ended up bringing Caleb and that in order to vote, like have the numbers against the blue team once they merged.
Yeah.
And so we have seen that actually happen, that you can pick up the scraps against the stronger team. So it does have both ways. Emily, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see what Sincere is saying. He says, I think the dry hot dogs is the same concept. Jeff wants them all to have fun while still being, I'm just joking, have them all to still be hungry, even when rewarded, like when he gave them a handful of popcorn last season and went over not giving them too much. I think rewards should be abundant, like feasts and all you can eat. But Jeff apparently wants scarce rewards now because it saves the bottom dollar, I think, personally.
That actually happened? He only gave them like a handful of popcorn?
Yes. He went to tribal council. He went to tribal council. These people are starving. And he had a box of popcorn and he was eating it at tribal council. He was like, I don't know if anything exciting is going to happen tonight like the last tribal council. So I brought some popcorn with, right?
Really
and they were all like, Jeff, we're starving. You can't do this to us. So he gave them all like one popcorn each that they can enjoy as well. I'm like, and he enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was meant to be a bit like, I've got popcorn for the crazy tribal that's about to happen, and then he was like, I don't think he didn't intend to give it to them. It was just a little joke for a meme. Yeah. And then they said,
this was Jeff coming back as Sassy Jeff, right? Because people have been asking for Sassy Jeff to come back for a long time, but I was missing Sassy Jeff with the chicken. Because he's like, you guys' morals can't take the chicken out. Okay, I'll just give you a bunch of eggs. Like, he should have been like, no, this is not what Survivor's about. You should be chopping these chickens.
I've never physically harmed a chicken, and the thought of it is really difficult in my head.
Yeah, but I think I've been starving
eating that chicken, man. I'm eating that chicken.
I'm the same.
Raw.
Like, would you go after the chicken, Mucky? Like, would you spare the chicken?
I have a personal vendetta against swans and geese, and chicken falls under that family. So yes, I would go after that chicken. I leave no mercy. As damn good chicken in your bird family.
So what's the strategy, Mucky? Talk us through the strategy. Your whole tribe is saying, no, we can't chop the chicken. We're better human beings than this. What's the strategy? How do you get Operation Chop the Chicken going?
Well, do you want the Mucky strategy or the good strategy?
The Mucky strategy. That's why I asked you, Mucky.
Okay, so the Mucky strategy.
I go to Kahuna for the good strategy, so you can go first.
Well, there's two parts to the Mucky strategy, right? One is you insult everyone on the tribe, they'll have a breakdown and they'll quit the game, so you're the sole survivor by default. And then part two of that on how to convince them how to eat the chicken, right? Is that you got to cater to their personal lives, right? Like, hey, Survivor's a nostalgia game, right? You watch this with your families and stuff. Do you know what else you do with your families? You eat KFC, right? Do you miss KFC? Do you miss your chicken? Well, your family's probably eating chicken right now. Don't you want to be one with your family again? Don't you want to be with your family? Do you not love your family? Especially you, Kyle. You vegetarian, you don't love your family enough to eat meat, right? So why don't we have this chicken? We can have breasts, we can have thighs, we can have whatever we want. We can even make our own popcorn chicken with this, right?
Let's be with our families again. It's a dilemma, though, right? It's a dilemma. Like, you've got a whole team there that are saying, we can't do this. Sam wanted to. Sam in the previous episode said he was ready to eat some chicken. So hats off to him for sucking it up. He's probably doing the right thing to try and win the game. You don't want to annoy people by just doing it. But me personally, I reckon I would have gone out in the middle of the night. I would have made sure to do a little swing like James did back in the day. And you just hear the chicken go, ah! And then in the morning there would be like the body, and I'd be like, something must have happened overnight. I don't know.
The lion.
We can't waste this chicken.
Already feathered.
It's already there. It's already defeathered. I don't know how that happened, but we better put it to good use. That's what I would do. I'd play a Cluedo game in the middle of the night.
Yeah,
it's already dead. It's like Sue did it with the idol. Like an idol hunt, like a whodunit. I would do it with the chicken. At that point, there's no returning Kuna. I feel like that's the best strategy.
I would have gone similar. I like the idea of just doing it, and once they're dead, like, what are they going to do at that point? Now you're just wasting. Like then it's died for no reason, right? Then it's died in
Yeah.
vain. It might like it
Yeah,
reminds
but
me
if
of
somebody brings it up and they're like, I can't believe that we did this to the chickens. Like, no, we did it. We all enjoyed it together. Like we
could do the Rome. You could do the Rome approach, right?
Yeah.
He caught the fish, right? So he ate the hell out of the fish and gave them like the tiniest morsels. He'd be like, "All right, you don't have to kill. I'll kill the chicken, or I've killed the chicken. I'm gonna eat the chicken. And if you didn't want to eat the chicken, then you don't have to eat the chicken, right?
Yeah.
But none of it, like Kyle's the vegetarian. None of them are. I'm sure once that chicken's cooked, they're eating the hell out of that chicken. They're not like they're not being moral at that point. I think it's just the act of killing that they themselves struggled with.
Yeah.
If someone had done it, they'd be cool with it. So just do it. Like I think Sam should have just done it. You know what I mean? Like
listen, I'm not gonna. For me personally, I've never done it, so it would feel hella awkward to do it. But I think you're 16 days in, or whatever days they're in now, or how deep they're in the game. Like you've had no food for so long.
Do you remember Ali G, the TV show Ali G?
Yes.
He had that joke. Oh, it makes me laugh so much. He was talking to animal rights people and was like, "Do you believe in animal testing?" And she's like, "No, of course not." He's like, "What if the product is for animals?" And then the second bit was, would you eat a chicken? And she goes, "No, of course I wouldn't." He goes, "What if I told you if you don't eat this chicken, I'm going to kill another chicken?"
Oh, imagine this. It's like
that approach. And I'm telling you right now,
everybody would
if we
eat
don't
the chicken.
kill this chicken, I'm going to
Carl
kill
would
another one.
eat the chicken. Carl would eat the chicken in that scenario.
Actually,
you see, imagine a player being that savage in the new era of Survivor. I reckon they would be the most hated player in the history of the show. Like Russell Hans's spot would be up for grabs, and they'd probably be on House of Villains season 3 if they did something like that. People would forget about the dead grandma. Like they'd completely forget about it. If something like that happened.
You know, we should start a petition for Ali G to be on Survivor.
Yeah,
or to like interview new Survivor contestants. Like I still recall when he like interviewed someone from NASA, and he's like, "Why haven't we gone to the sun?" And he's like, "Well, you can't go to the sun. You'll burst into flames." It's like, yeah, but what if we went at nighttime?
This is a straight face. Straight face.
It's so good. Oh, I love that.
Darren here says Gabe looks too much like Josh to me, so it's hard to take him seriously for me. Definitely see a lot of Josh in him, but I don't know. Like Josh is from the challenge and Big Brother winner. One of the reasons I don't watch Big Brother anymore, because if someone like Josh can win it, like the credibility of the show's gone down, right, Kuna? But anyways, yeah, I could see it, but I feel like Gabe potentially could still be a player this season. I just don't know if it's going to go his way. He had a bit of a quiet episode for me. I don't know. I just don't feel like it's going to go that way. But I want to talk about the title of this live. We need to talk about the no vote. I've never been a fan of the no vote. The no vote's one of the big reasons that I think the new era is inferior to what was before. Yes, I said it. I know people are going to come at us for saying that, the new era lovers. But for me, losing a vote like Annika did in this situation, she had no chance of surviving this vote, Kahuna. Because even if Sierra wanted to go to work with the girls, which I think Sierra was tempted to do it with the breadwinners and she was contemplating it, what is the best scenario that Sierra would have gotten out of this? A 2-2 vote, right? Which would have meant rocks, where she puts herself potentially at risk in a small scenario like that. Plus, she knew that Sam had the idol and that he was probably willing to play it on his boy. So I just felt like it took so many opportunities away from Annika to even try and get herself out of this game. I knew Annika and Rachel wasn't long for the game because we never saw their side of the story. We never saw the strategy was never from their side. It's always being told from Sam, Sierra, and Andy's side. But I feel like I kind of feel bad for Annika in a way. And I don't know, like convince me that the no vote is something that we should hold on to. Like what more do we want to gain from the no vote? What is Jeff seeing that I can't see, and why this no vote is such a good thing, especially since Annika was forced to take the no vote when she went out there. I think she was forced to play the game. She didn't have a choice where she's like, I'd rather protect my vote. Which to me, when they did that, at least there was some level of control that players kept in their hands, where they could choose, I'll risk it or I'll keep it. I can still live with that, but the fact that you're forcing them to lose votes, Kahuna, so early on in such a small tribe, doesn't sit right with me.
Your own actions at that point would have been better if you've made the choice, you live with the consequences of that. But when at the moment, so much of it is just on rails. Like they're just along for the ride. The game mechanics are actually what's dictating. Like this happened last week, week before, whatever, when Teeny was forced to side with Rome because he had the idol and he had the thing, and she couldn't see a way.
Well, Teeny wasn't forced. She was treated like a passenger. Nobody cared or talked to her about anything because she didn't have a vote.
But it was because at that time there was nothing they could do against the power that Rome was sort of wielding. And in this instance, the complete lack of any agency or power from Annika to be able to do anything, like you said, like even if there was an idea, it's just so fruitless that it makes it dumb to actually try at that point. Like even if Sierra wanted to, like you said, the smart thing is to not go to that risk. And if they want to like force hands, then this is what you kind of get, is like they're not really playing. They don't have the agency. They're just kind of dictated by the Monopoly board, right? Like whatever.
To me, it was boring strategy this round. Like I felt like if you had to compare this to what we would get in pre-mergers for, and again, I'm sorry to do it, but I have to do it because Australia Survivor is the other premier English version of the show, so I can't go anywhere else but compare it to that. If you look at what we've gotten in past seasons in Australian Survivor, where there's like split votes and crazy things being done with numbers, Maki, there's no way for them to do it in a 6-person tribe, 5 people in a tribe left, and one of the 5 have lost their votes, so now you've only got 4 votes. Like you can't do splits. You can't see these very intricate, smart strategy plays that actually makes you excited to watch a tribal council. You know, like I don't know if you felt entertained by it, but to me it was I came into this episode and I told Kuna I kind of felt flat a little bit about the outcome of this episode. I know a lot of people got excited about Annika's reaction to it, but even that to me was like, okay, cool, she did a stare down. I don't know. I didn't feel like it felt flat.
Well, I mean, let's talk about Titans vs. Rebels here for a second. The episode where everyone had to compete in a challenge. You had this large majority. You had Ferris and Eileen on the bottom. Everyone's dead set against them. But if you win the challenge, you win the vote. And the 3 main characters on the tribe, Kirby, Ferris, Eileen, won their vote. And, you know, there's potential idol in play. Could they potentially dupe Ferris and Eileen? But they split their votes. Like, oh, genius. Only 3 people voted in that tribal council. And it was very exciting. We were on the edge of our seats the entire time and stuff. Because it's all about storytelling, right?
Yeah.
Like, you could have easily painted this as like, oh, Sam's trying his best to save Andy, but he can't. But, oh, Annika loses her vote. Now this is their chance to, like, you know, become from the minority.
I get you. So you feel like the storytelling's been weak, and maybe we didn't, because we didn't see much from Annika and Rachel's point of view. Like there was no time in the way that it was edited for me in the early stages that made me feel like Annika and Rachel was going to come out on top of this battle.
Yeah.
At no point have I thought that. And maybe because of that, I didn't care enough about Annika, because they didn't build her in my mind enough to care about this vote. And the way that it's, but I care about her losing a vote, if that makes sense. I care about that because I still think that's dumb. But you're saying more so than losing the vote is the fact that the storytelling wasn't good.
I do think losing your vote is a problem as well. Like, I do like the idea of, if you're going to at least risk for an advantage, you might as well have the opportunity to protect yourself as well, right? But it's like, also just that storytelling wasn't there. Like, we've all known for a long time that Annika or Rachel is going to be the next one voted out of that tribe. There was no build up to it. There was no anything. It's like, nah, that's what's going to happen. Either Sam's going to play as idol on Andy, or Sarah's going to flip and join their side. And the second Annika lost her vote, you knew. Like, when did she lose her vote? Last episode, the one before, but it was.
To be honest, I kind of forgot.
By the way.
Yeah, they reminded us in the beginning of the episode, because I kind of forgot. Like, if I remembered in the previous episode that she lost her vote, I would have been like, yeah, this breadwinner thing is useless because it's not going to work out because she doesn't have a vote. Yeah. But I kind of forgot about it. Yeah.
As soon as she said it, by the way, as the reminder, I was like, oh, shit, well, why are they telling me that for?
Yeah, exactly. And, but also, the whole losing your vote thing, it's like, you know, why I got into Survivor, right, which I feel like is very similar to you boys, is that it's a social strategy show. What happens when you have a whole group of strangers together, forced to work with each other? There's social hierarchies, minorities. They flip the tables with blindside stuff because the fight for power changes every single episode, right? If you have people who lose their vote, there's no intrigue for me there, right?
Yeah.
Because there's no social dynamics there. It's literally just out luck. That's what New Year's Survivor
I
is.
agree.
Yeah, it's just
I
out
agree.
luck. No outwit, nothing.
If you had big enough groups, when you're talking about like an Australian Survivor, when you have a 9-person tribe, if one person loses the vote, right, then it becomes a matter of, look, we can carry them through this because we see the benefit in the future. We see the benefit in this relationship, and the social things that you're talking about, the social relationships actually plays a part, because when you're doing this way up of my relationship with this person and how much I want them in the game versus the difficulty of pulling off this maneuver when they don't have a vote and actually protecting them, you have to do a little bit of that. And when it comes to the American Survivor, when there's 4 people that can actually vote, she doesn't actually give you anything, and there's no payoff to keep her around and actually try to swing it the other way, because she's got no vote to give you. There's no number there. As far as that goes, there's nothing that she can actually do to even finagle not getting voted out. Like in Australian Survivor, when it's, it might be 4-4, one of them doesn't have a vote, you go, well, it's okay because we've got 6 and I still really want to get that group of people out. We don't need 6, we only need 5. Your vote doesn't matter as long as you're with us for the future time when we go up against them. Like, you can see the long-term benefits, but this is so short-sighted. They have to react. Every single move they make has to be for today, for this tribal, for everything that's going on, because there's no numbers there. Every time they make a move in the pre-merge, in a 6-person tribe, in a 4-person tribe, it's like you're playing end game strategy. When the whole game gets down to 4 or 5 people, you're playing very differently to when it's first when you merge and they're playing with 11 or 12. And you start seeing the numbers divide, and is there groups of 5, 6 versus, like, all the numbers that permeate in the merge when it's the biggest, and then it starts getting down to the spiky end. They're playing that from the beginning, but not in a way that you've seen prior relationships, prior storylines, prior backstabbings and strategies and stuff play out. They're just having to do end game strategy stuff now, with no with all these twists and permutations and things and votes taken away and everything, like, all at one time, and it's freaking hard to the point where they can't actually play.
Yeah, you bring up a really good point. That's why I just want to quickly jump on this. But in-game strategy, that is what the New Era Survivor is, right? Everyone's playing each day as if it's like day 37, day 38. You get what I mean? It's like, who can I take with me to the end who I can beat, right? It's no longer about threat management, wanting to surround yourself with threats, other large players. It's who can I potentially, win against the end, right? That's everyone's thought process every single episode, right? But Survive, I mean, it's a 26-day game now, right? You need other threats and stuff like that around you to last longer in the game. But everyone's so focused on trying to win every single day, no one's actually thinking about long term anymore, and that's why I think we get a lot of
they can't. The game doesn't allow.
They can't actually think things through because the game completely stuffs it up by taking away your vote, or changing this around, or giving some crazy idol over there, and
telling you you're winning. Basically, you could win an immunity at merge, and it could be ripped away in the very next challenge from you after you won immunity. There's crazy things.
That?
Yeah.
How do you
You don't know. Luckily, we won't see. What was it? The Wheel of Time or something like the time blast thing. Hopefully, we don't see that again coming back. Anyways, I want to read a couple comments here. Darren saying losing a vote is on a tribe of 6 or smaller is extremely harsh penalty for such a little reward. I agree. Sincere saying Tini losing her vote changed nothing. Annika losing her vote changed nothing, because even if she had a vote, it would be 3-2. Rome getting a stealer vote made a difference in their tribe's outcome, though. that might prove that it's worth it to take a risk on journeys, because of losing won't matter much and winning will help a lot. I think I disagree. Like, I mean, Teeny losing a vote, I can understand because Rome had the steal a vote. So Teeny having her vote or not having her vote, as long as he had Genevieve with him, which he had, was 1, 2, and then his vote would have been 3. And then Teeny, well, I guess Teeny, Sol, and Croissant could have still been together. It would have been 3-3. So it did change something.
That's what they were.
So it
and
did
same
change
with
something.
Sierra, right? Sierra couldn't go with
exactly.
Annika.
That's why
and
I disagree. I think losing votes matter massively, and it changes conversations between people. If you come back and say I don't have a vote, say,
like,
cool,
why
I
am
can't
I even
rely on
talking
you.
to you?
Can't rely on you. I can't have you in my votes. Darren says I would stop production because no way would I go on any journey. Yeah, and that's what's crazy to me for people like, oh yeah, I want to go. I want to fight rock, paper, scissors to get on this boat. I'm like, get on the boat. You go do the boat. Like, it's just such a big gamble at the end of the day. And then you come back and people may not even believe your story. And everybody knows something's going to happen. So you have to have a story when you come back, So I think if Jeff really wants to mess around with people in the next season, what he needs to do is he needs to make the journey. He needs to make it so elaborate that no one would believe what they got up to when they went there. Like, imagine it. Imagine he makes it just so elaborate, like a Mucky type story, like they went onto this boat and then there was a helicopter on the island and they jumped onto the helicopter. And
there was a Sasquatch, there was a Wendigo just came out of nowhere. There was chalky milk. There's chalky milk everywhere.
Have you guys ever seen the videos about people going into the middle of like Italy and then there's this red button in the middle of the square and it says push me and everybody's like, what the hell? What's going to happen when I push the button? And then as soon as someone hits it, it's like a bank robbery happening, people running out, police chasing them.
Yeah.
It's like this whole pre-planned thing. Like, he needs to do something like that where they go back to camp and they're like, this happened. And then a clown jumped out of a box and this happened. And everybody's like, this guy is lying through his teeth. He's not telling us the truth. I think that would be funny to see.
They could do the opposite. You do the opposite. You go, okay, you make sure you bring your shot in the dark and bring your bags. And then they come and they just have lunch. With no reward, no challenge, nothing, and send them back. They're like, there was no idol, I swear. We just had lunch. And I was like, what?
Something I'd love to see.
Jeff wouldn't give them a free lunch, mate. Let's be real. Like, budget cuts. They would just be sitting on the sand without anything. This is a time for you to strategize and talk for 12 hours.
Something I would love to see though is like going back to basics or something like that, right? So imagine a season of New Era where it's all about advantages and twists and stuff, but there's nothing. The amount of times people are like planning, but what if a person is disadvantaged, that advantage, but no, it's just nothing.
I think in theory, that's something that fans would love to see, like online fans, super fans of the show would love to see it. But in Jeff's mind, he's like, I can't actually get casual people to watch a show like that. That's what he's thinking.
I think it's balance. It's a balance. And I think they've overcorrected too far. Like it is a delicate balance. I know you can go one way or the other, but I think if you do bare bones early Survivor, you can get the pagongings and stuff like that, where it does get a little bit. Once you get the numbers, and once Richard Hatch figured out that it's a numbers game, not a social game, like it was over. Like then it changed the game completely. But back then, with
day one, he figured it out.
Yeah, with no twists, no idols, there's no way for the bottom people to come back. Right? There's no incentive to actually, but you do need a little bit of it. But now they're taking away way too much of the play and making it all about production. It's a balance, which I think they're missing.
I love how we're like a yo-yo. Last week we're like Survivor's back, Rome's doing it. This week we're like, what's happening? What's going on? The twist.
Here's my observation, right, on that. Because I do think it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty good. Last week especially, I am high on it, especially in comparison to the New Era. But I said it last week, and every week I feel like it's solidifying my opinion more and more. Is that even though it is interesting, there's people like Arone, people like Andy. I'm loving Genevieve now, by the way. And like I said last week, I think one of the crimes was that she wasn't featured earlier because she's great. I think the problem is that as the season goes on, we're now up to episode 5. where it reminds me every week, oh yeah, it's the same. Like, oh yeah, even though they're throwing bags at the puzzle, like it just feels the same.
Even though the cast is delivering, and I think this is what someone like Drew maybe don't appreciate, right? The cast and the framework, the field that you're playing in has not changed or innovated or become smarter. So even though we like the cast and some of the people within the cast, it's the limitations of production and how the show is being set up. For people who don't like the new era, that is what we're criticizing more than anything else. Now, if you get a dud season like last season, in my opinion, I wasn't a big fan of the cast. You've got a cast that's not delivering, and you've got a theme and a production setup that's not delivering. It's a slog to watch it. Last season nearly got me out of Survivor, right? Q was like the only bright. Like if Q went early in the merge, I would have been like, boys, this is going to be tough to finish this season, right? Because he kept me invested. But outside of that, like it was a very tough watch. This season, I feel like the cast to a certain degree, like you said, we've got Rome, I like Sol, I like Genevieve. A lot of them is because of, and even Teeny to a degree, I like to see how she's going to, or they are going to skirt between allegiances, and if they can find the way to be a chameleon towards the end game. I think Sam is a highly capable player, so I want to see how his game plays out. I do like Andy, just this crazy force of energy within the game, and how can you not like that? And he's good with confessionals. You got to give the guy his due. He's actually really good as a narrator and a storyteller, at least, even though a lot of his stories are made up in his head, like how he planned the Annika blindside days ago, and how his master plan came together, which he was not the master of, but still love listening to the guy at least narrating the game. I like Gabe, I like Sue. Like I think there's like a lot of good characters. You've got all the ingredients for a good cake here, but it's just, I don't know, the baking tray is still the same. We haven't changed it for the last so many years, and maybe the baking tray is going off a little bit, and it's now getting some of that.
Can you imagine, right? As far as like the way they hyped up the twist that's the first time ever been done in Survivor. He even like threw to an ad break, by the way. He threw to an ad break in order to come back and build the suspense for the twist, right? And it was like the ball pit. Mucky mentioned before on Titans versus Rebels, that twist at Live Tribal to then have an actual challenge in order to get a 3-person minority to win, to then take. Imagine if they had something like that. Like his head would explode. The twist that's never been seen in Survivor.
Yeah. But it's like how in Winners at War, Adam went up to get the idol from the podium that Jeff was on, and everybody looked at him like he was crazy. But Adam's a fan of International Survivor, and he's seen that twist used in International Survivor where there's an idol hidden right in front of everybody at Tribal Council. That is innovative. That is different thinking. That is how you make a Tribal Council exciting. And it's just similar to how that twist happened in Titans versus Rebels, where they had to go do this challenge at Tribal Council. These are types of innovations that we could still see within the game that would be more exciting than what we've seen so far, in my opinion.
Yeah. And also, like
yeah, that's true.
Pretty much. Yeah.
I do feel for Charles. I do feel for him. But the way that they did the story, they really set Charles up in that season to be the cocky guy, so everybody could feel good about him going out in that way, because they showed him at it, like, boasting about the fact that he was in power. Love Charlie though, Charles. This is a bad way for him to go. But yeah, I just feel like in that way we're sort of lacking. Where were you going to go, Mucky? Who are you rooting for, mate? Who are you rooting for? Who do you have in this thing now?
Well, it's the only guy with a bloody personality. It's Rome, right? It's like, I like Genevieve, I like Rome, but I like them because they kind of like a package deal. I think if it was
I agree.
Genevieve on her own without Rome, I would sort of be like, yeah, okay, yeah, she's all right. You get what I mean?
It might be there.
Maybe. And but like,
I think Rome's I'm gonna put it out there. I think Rome's the merge boot.
He's not looking great. It's not looking great for him right now, eh?
It's not looking good. Yeah, it's if he has a merge boot, like I'm gonna be so pissed, because like, who am I gonna root for this season? Like this, like
Andy.
I hardly remember.
How can you not? Like, mate, listen.
I mean,
I'm gonna give you one. Let me just like get this up for you here, man. I'm gonna give you one clip that will make you an instant
Oh,
Andy
is
supporter
it
in
him
real life.
humping the pole?
Mate, don't spoil it for anyone. We're gonna be bringing it up soon.
It's the most mucky thing ever.
How can you not root for that guy, Mucky?
Well, he's
How can
doing
you
the
not
rooting.
root?
That's
I knew exactly what you're going to bring up. I knew exactly what you were going to bring up. Oh gosh, poor Andy. I mean, it's like
Yeah.
I like in the early stages of this season, I was talking to Tom offline, and I told him how watching Andy play is like watching an old person fall down the stairs. It's kind of like falling down the stairs, but it's also kind of sad at the same time. You get what I mean? But like I've grown to like Andy as well. But I mean, it's that thing like, you know, like last week, Chris, after the live, you're like, Mucky, I just got to ask, are you okay? You checked on me. You made sure I was okay, because 4 episodes of Neuro Survivor is a lot. And and I really appreciated that. But yeah, it's what Gunnar said.
I got you. I want you to be happy. I don't want you to be sitting there after these podcasts alone crying that you're putting yourself through this torture, you know?
Yeah, but it's like, as Gunnar said though, it's like, yeah, it's a good cast. Like, I do overall like the cast and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's just the same thing over and over again. Like a lot of things that's happening, I still remember in season 41, and that was 3 years ago, and it's still the same thing. You get what I mean? And so
it's not a good sign.
Yeah, it's I mean, because it's like, what happens after season 50?
Yeah,
I feel like that's a big question. Like, what's going to happen after that, right? Because we've had now 10 seasons of the exact.
Mate, there was a time. I'm going to be honest with you. There was a time that I would have been devastated if Survivor stopped. I'm not there anymore for Survivor US. Honestly, I'm not. I'm not there anymore. Like, I'm here until the wheels come off. I've said that. But in some ways, sometimes you're like, if Jeff doesn't want to change things up or make the show interesting again, maybe go back to 39 days, have 2 tribes, just be like, bring back some, I don't know, like he's got energy for the show and creative, but it's like misplaced. So I don't know if we can get him back on it. Yeah, well, I just, it's getting to the point now where like, I would be sad to see it go, but if season 50 is the last season, mate, like honestly, from my point, I'd be like, we had a really good run at this. 50 seasons is pretty bloody amazing.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
We still got Australian Survivor for now, so
yeah. Something though,
like I want to see it without Jeff, because we've seen now with Australia, with South Africa, even though I haven't really watched South Africa, but we know that it can be done in innovative ways, in different ways, different hosts, unattached completely, do their own thing and really nail it, right? Like really get it. They're not even in the template or whatever. They're doing their own thing with the basic shape of Survivor, but making it their own and really doing a successful job of it. I'd like to see him hand over the reins to someone, not necessarily hosting, but hosting is such a big part of it, but just to be able to creatively and see someone go, here, what can you do with Survivor now? Like, you know, like make
kind
it
of like what Mark Burnett did to him. Mark Burnett brought him in, then handed it over to him. But I don't get the feeling that Jeff wants to do it. I feel like, and again, I could be so wrong, but the way I'm reading it is Jeff kind of feels like he is Survivor, you know? So I don't know if he can remove himself from it, you know?
Because we've seen now, it doesn't need him.
He is entitled to that opinion. I mean, he's been around for a very long time, and to a lot of Americans, he is Survivor. Like a lot of Americans, I don't think we'll see, will even like contemplate a show without Jeff Probst being the host. So I don't know if Americans even want to have that conversation. Like, I don't know. Like, but I agree with you as an international viewer that have seen other great hosts host the show. And plus, can you imagine if we did remove Jeff Probst, we probably could afford to go from 26 days to 39 days. We could probably have that back in the budget because he's been for the show for 50 years. 50 feels like 50 years, 50 seasons, right? So I feel like he's probably a big part of the budget goes into his salary just to keep him on. So if you could free that up, we might get proper rewards with hot dogs and a little bit of a tomato sauce with it instead of it being dry. You know, we might be able to afford food again for people, right? We might be able to afford going back to 39 days. Like the budget might get bigger.
Yeah, but
if I was Jeff, right?
I just want to quickly say hello to Danica. I just want to quickly say hello. She's been here for a while. Hey guys, sorry I'm late. You're apparently starting at 5 a.m. our time now. It's to be honest, Danica, it's a little bit all over the place. It really just depends on when I can jump on. And I needed to jump on a little bit earlier for work tomorrow morning, getting up early my time. And also, Challenge Live will be later this week. Both myself and Kahuna, I was probably the sickest, and then Kahuna got sick after me as well. So we both weren't able to do it this week, but we are planning on coming back for a Challenge Live this week. So yeah, over to you, Kahuna. What were you going to say?
I get why it's the way it is, right? Like you said, at first it was a reaction to COVID. But Jeff is like in his 60s, right? He's been doing it for 24 years, 23 years.
Yep.
Like, the dude is like, if you can get to the point, like me, I hardly go to the office. And if my work said come back to the office 5 days, I don't know what I would do because it is very comfy. Like this where you see me is my workspace as well, right? So like Jeff has now set up a world-class premiere, big budget, main channel TV show to be his work from home. He has the shortened schedule, easy template. They just have 3 locations for the challenges. He's got they never move locations.
Back to the same, yeah.
Exactly the same thing. He knows what he's doing. It's the easiest possible way for him to do this big show and make it simple because he's now at a point where he's like, man, I've been doing this for ages. I just want to do it the easier. He's not pushing himself. He's not innovating. And it's like, I don't blame him. I would be the exact same way. But let someone else have that and innovate and who's hungry and pushing it and passionate and really wants to take it to another level because he clearly is phoning it in. Give him Challenge All-Stars. Give him Survivor All-Stars. Where, you know what I mean? Like, come up with some other format, the shortened version.
Or he's always wanted to do Survivor Youth. Like, give him Paramount show, Survivor School, and get the teens out there, get the high schoolers out there, go do that. Because he's wanted to make that show for so long. Do it in America. You know, you don't even need to leave the country. You can go somewhere into the forest there, have like a new, like, I don't know if any of you guys ever watched back in the day Endurance, where the kids were competing kind of almost like the challenge. So you could have like an endurance style. Yeah, Janae's from there. Jonathan's from there as well, from one of the previous seasons. So you could do something like that. But in any case, sorry, my voice is starting to go, so we're going to have to wrap it up pretty soon. I have been pushing it on for a bit with not feeling 100%.
Something I did just want to quickly bring up, you know, as much crap Tom and I would give Survivor UK, something that I did love about it was every single challenge, immunity reward challenge, was a classic American Survivor challenge that went right all the way back to season 1, right? So it's very nostalgia heavy and stuff. It was all the stuff we've seen before, and it was fun to watch. It was fun to watch these new people do like this old like classic challenges and stuff. I think even for one of the rewards. No, no, they weren't. It's like it was classic. It was fun to watch, right? And it's like, you know, we're missing that with these challenges, right? Something unique. Like one of my personal favorite challenges, right, was the reward challenge where you had like the mannequin or something up in the air. You had to answer a bunch of like questions about like everyone else, and then like you had to give what you think the most amount of people in your tribe had answered, and if you got it right, you got like it sounds like that's such a cool fun challenge.
So much variance.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like but now it's you run somewhere, you throw something, go up a ladder, go through that, then grab puzzle pieces and puzzle, right? It's like it's a bit boring to watch, right? And like Survivor UK took the big hits and did a whole season with it. Survivor South Africa, also some challenges are like kind of similar to the classics, but they make it their own as well.
Yeah.
And
by the way, I did like the ladder that they needed to get through the maze. I thought that was pretty cool. And this reward challenge where they had the big ladder that they had to maneuver. I thought that was a pretty good little innovation. But always has like elements of the older one. Then they had to climb the ladder to get the coconuts and things like that. Let's read a couple more just comments here before we start closing off, because I think this is about as much as my voice can take tonight. Danica saying Jeff will never willingly pass the torch. If he did it, would have to be a previous player to host. I'm not for previous player hosting personally. I don't know if there is a previous player that actually can do the job.
Russell.
Who would you say? A lot of people will say Boston Rob, but Boston Rob, like, I love Boston Rob. I just don't see him as a host for the show.
I could give it a Russell.
Russell
I'll
Hunt?
make Survivor great again.
Yeah.
You know, y'all New Era fans ain't got shit to what I went through. We're gonna make it even more advantages. Who needs a social game when everyone's got 2 idols on them?
If we're gonna go for Devons, I'd almost go for Adam rather than Devons.
That's a
Like
host?
someone who's actually won the show. Yeah, why not? I like Adam. I reckon Adam's cool. But Devons has got a good voice for it, so I can understand why people are saying Devons as a potential. I think it should be someone new. I think it should be someone whose main thing is being a host. You know,
Yeah.
let's not get a part timer in there.
Host of the Nullified Tech channel.
Listen, the amount of like
American
the amount
Survivor.
of absolute shit talking we do on Survivor New Era, I would be Jeff Probst's last choice to be the next host for Survivor, unless he's like, well, you think you can do it better, show us how, you know. But I don't think he's got that attitude. I think Coach Drew, if there was someone from the Nullified Take channel that could take over, Coach Drew would be his choice. He would be the number one guy to take over the new era of Survivor on the show. Let's see. Survivor Cynthia says, I miss Sassy Jeff. Totally agree. Miss him as well. Darren says the contract with Fiji runs out after 50. Great time to pass it on to someone else. It's good news. Maybe they'll go to Samoa or something next. I don't think so. I feel like Jeff loves Fiji. He's got a house there. He's got everything set up. The only thing that will happen is at season 50, they'll renegotiate terms, I'm sure. Well, I can't see him leave it. Chris, can you post the upcoming schedule so I can set my alarm? It should be 9 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. So it'll be 7 a.m. Danica.
I'll do an updated graphic.
Yeah. The
I'll
only
do
thing I
one
feel
tomorrow.
bad for Kuna about is whenever we change, like it's like there's a graphic, but then sometimes we change things last minute. But we're going to try and be 7 a.m. for Thursday this week is when we should be live for the challenge.
Something I just recalled as well. Australia's done 2 seasons in the outback, right? Like Central Australia, right? Wasn't Immunity Island and Return of the Outcasts all done in South Africa as well, Chris?
Yes.
Yeah, like think of like Survivor the Grand Canyon. How cool would that
I'd love
be?
to see it.
You know what I mean?
I would love to see it.
Yeah. Or here we go. You want an actual new twist Survivor? Do it in Canada. You get what I mean? Where you
just wanna
actually
see
need to build a fire. I do want to see a Sasquatch. That could be like the tribe raid. It's like a Sasquatch comes out. Oh my gosh, it's a Sasquatch! A Sasquatch took my idol.
Yeah.
That would be so great.
Very true. But on that note, everybody, we have to say goodbye. My voice is starting to go. I can feel it. But we got through it. So now I've got a couple of days to rest it until we get to the challenge live recap as well. Everybody that tuned in on the live and that is watching this at a later stage, thank you so much for checking it out. We're just a couple of fans that sometimes like to blast New Age Survivor. Sometimes we're very positive. Sometimes we're a little bit critical on a few things. Let us know your thoughts. Where we're being too harsh. Where do you agree or disagree with us as a panel? And if you do like our content, hit the like button. Costs you absolutely nothing, but it does help with growing this channel here on YouTube. But for now, everybody, grab your torches, head back to camp. We'll catch you guys next time. Bye.